Good morning again, student veteran. This is Dr. Miatta Snetter with U.S.VETS, the Outside the Wire program, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Mental Health for Student Veterans. And this is not only for student veterans, of course, but for your family members as well. As U.S.VETS being the largest nonprofit provider of free services to veterans in the nation, and having numerous outreach programs, one of which being the Outside the Wire program. This is why this Zoom online video educational video is being sent to you. But those of you who don't know about U.S.VETS, we've been around for 26 years. We're not a fly-by-night organization. We're not going anywhere. We've got a program called Psy.D, the Career Development Institute, that helps veterans to find desirable careers and jobs. Another program called Women Vets on Point, where we provide services specific to the needs of female veterans, the Veterans Peer-to-Peer program. But I'm here on behalf of the U.S.VETS Outside the Wire program here in Orange County. Again, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I'm the Director of Clinical Services for the Outside the Wire here in Orange County, where we provide free and confidential mental health and case management services to student veterans and your family members right there on your college campus. Now, clearly, the reason that I'm coming to you is because the COVID-19 coronavirus and the stay-at-home mandate here in the state of California and nationwide, as a matter of fact, is still in place. And so I decided to come to you in a very different way. I'm outside again in my backyard. I'm in the natural elements, so you're going to hear noises. You might hear planes flying by. In fact, there's one that's going by right now. You might hear birds chirping, or people talking, or horns honking, or what have you. That's life that's going on around me. And once again, I'd like to encourage you just to ignore it and just refocus your attention on this mental health for student veterans and your family members video. So moving into our third week of this coronavirus stay-at-home mandate, where we're being hunkered down, have to stay home, where it's being acknowledged that it's safer and better to stay at home right now. Many of you student veterans and your family members have been impacted in different ways. We now know that more than 6,000 American lives have been lost to coronavirus, and more than 53,000 lives worldwide have been lost to coronavirus. Some of you have had concerns of your own health and well-being related to this disease and this crisis. So we know that everyone is being impacted in different ways. And that's the reason that I wanted to come to you in today's educational video, which is about the talking thought bubble, which I'll talk to you about in just a few moments, and then we'll wrap this video up. I don't intend to be for a long time. I want these videos to be short and brief, and the only request that I always make to you, student veteran, is that if this has been helpful, if this has been encouraging to you, please share with the Veterans Resource Center, your certifying official, or whomever is on your campus. Let them know I really like that talking thought bubble that Dr. Miatta brought. It was very informative, and it helps me to think about things a little bit differently. And again, I'll continue to come to you in a different way. Now, the 7 colleges where we're providing these services, once again, Coastline Community College, Golden West, Irvine Valley College, Santa Ana College, Fullerton College, Cypress College, and Orange Coast College. As well, I'd like to acknowledge Las Positas College, because that is a community college that we have a particular partnership with. And the student veterans on that campus, we are extending our services and added support to Las Positas College student veterans. And so I'd like to acknowledge them as well, and let you know that U.S.VETS, the Outside the Wire program, is here to serve those who've served your nation. And so at this time, again, into our third week, there are a number of you that are feeling more nervous, a little bit more anxious, a lot more uncertain. This is April. You've had to pay your rent. You didn't know how you're going to pay your rent. Many have lost their jobs, and this might not impact you directly because you are a student, but it may have impacted others that are around you and your family members. And many are wondering about the transmission of the coronavirus and how it changes, and there's new information that's being provided every single day. And so I wanted to come to you in this forum and talk to you about the talking thought bubble and how that impacts you in your everyday life and the choices that you might be making, whether you're aware of them or not. So in doing so, student veteran, I want you to put on your thinking caps, your creative thinking caps. And I want you to imagine and reflect on when you were a kid and maybe you used to watch cartoons on a Saturday morning and they would have this head, it's like, you know, cartoon head, and maybe there was a thought bubble that would pop up and it'd go boop suddenly, and then that was a reflection of there being thoughts. Now, we as human beings, we know that we're always thinking, we're always processing experiences and thoughts, and our mind is a part of our human experience and human anatomy, more specifically the brain, but for right now, we'll call it the mind, that processes information, that makes the world make sense. We're thinking about things. We're always thinking about them, whether you know it or not. So I want to talk about 3 methods that the thought processes and that thought bubble operate. They can either be conscious thoughts, subconscious thoughts, or unconscious thoughts. And we're going to talk about them really briefly, and then we're going to move forward. So conscious thoughts, those are the thoughts and the processes, student and veteran, that you are fully aware of. You've got knowledge of, you know that you're thinking about them. What am I going to have for dinner? What am I going to have for lunch? You're thinking about, I've got to study, I've got a quiz next week, and I've got this online format and I'm not really comfortable with it, I'm not used to it. You are consciously aware of that thought process. So that's the conscious thought. Now let's talk about the subconscious thought, which is the second part of the mind and the processes of the thought process. Subconscious, and you sailors are going to really love this analogy or this example. Subconscious is like a submarine. Submarine floats or operates in the water underneath the surface of the water. So it's just beneath submarine, just beneath the surface level of the water. So subconscious is very similar in that it's just beneath the surface of the mind, of the conscious mind. So you can access it, but you need a prompt. It's kind of like the tip of the tongue phenomenon where I know I can remember what's that person's name that I met last week. What's his name? A, B, C, D, David. Yeah, that's his name, David. It requires a mnemonic or a reminder or a prompt of some sort that will elicit the recall, the voluntary recall of that information. That's subconscious, just beneath the surface of the conscious mind. Now you've got the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is that part that can be pretty tricky because we don't have access, voluntary access to it, meaning that it's there, it impacts your life, but you may not be aware. In fact, you are not aware that it's what that content is of that thought. But what's important is to know that these 3 aspects of the mind, of your thought bubble, have the ability to then impact emotions. Now, I know you're thinking, mental health provider, that psychologist, they're always wanting to talk about feelings and emotions. Yeah, that's true. However, the reason is because feelings are so vitally important to the human experience. Feelings are not bad. Feelings are what they are. They help us to engage the world and connect with the world. They help inform us of what we are and how we are experiencing the world. These are feeling words: sad, happy, glad, mad, angry, nervous, ashamed, embarrassed, irritated, agitated, betrayed, alienated, isolated. These are feeling words. Confused, uncertain. All of these are feeling words that human beings across ethnicity, age, gender, experience, all have feelings as human beings. Again, feelings are not bad. They help you to engage the world. They help inform you. Love, hope, inspiration, inspire. These are feeling words that human beings experience. However, military personnel, to be very honest, veterans, even first responders, we've got a lot of first responders, and our hearts, our minds, our thoughts, our prayers are being extended to those first responders, the medical teams, nurses, doctors that are on the front lines, those first responders, firewomen, firemen that are out in the community helping. We're thinking about you. We're grateful to you. However, certain professions are not oftentimes easily engaging of the feelings world, because honestly, as you're engaged in your profession, it could legitimately impede your ability to perform. So in military combat duty or even non-combat duty, you're trained not to embrace certain feelings. Anger is one that you can utilize because it feels strong and powerful, and it reinforces action and activity. However, other feelings, fear, scared, uncertainty, those are the feelings that typically military personnel and veterans don't feel very comfortable with. However, the human experience embraces those. And at this moment, I'm just going to take a little sip of my tea. I'm having tea this morning. And I want to invite you to have some tea, or if you like coffee, either way, because I'm coming to you in a lot more informal a way this morning because, again, of the unprecedented time that we find ourselves in. So press pause if you want. Go prepare some tea or coffee. Come back and join us. Nobody's going to know. So back to what I was saying with regard to the feeling world. Every human being experiences them. Some professions don't engage them as much. So these thoughts, back to the head, the talking thought bubble, has this thought bubble with thoughts, and like a downward arrow, elicits emotions and feelings. And now these feelings and emotions that we just talked about will then elicit actions or behaviors. And these actions and behaviors, student veterans, will have either a positive or a negative consequence. And so this awareness video is really about bringing your attention, your awareness, enabling you to become more mindful of the fact that you've got conscious, subconscious, unconscious thought processes that are always taking place and how they impact your feelings, your emotions, and the actions, so that the consequences you have more control over. So as an example, let's say, for example, you are recognizing that the coronavirus pandemic and how quickly it's spreading and where it's spreading and how it's impacting lives and people. You're uncertain as to whether it's going to impact you or your family, or that cough that you had last week, is it coronavirus? And I'm not making light of it. I'm just saying that during this time, there's a lot of uncertainty as to the things that you would normally do, which is a cough or sneeze, whether it's coronavirus or other indicators. You might not recognize that you're becoming more agitated, nervous, irritated, uncertain, scared, frankly, nervous about that. And so your wife or your husband or your children or someone comes in and they say, "Hey, honey, what do you want for dinner?" And you snap at them because you're not aware that your thought process, conscious or subconscious or even unconscious, are eliciting these feelings of agitation and irritation where you're not as tolerant as you normally are, and you snap at them. "Oh, fix whatever you want. Why are you asking me a ridiculous question?" Or your husband and your wife says, "Honey, I really need your help with the kids because I've got to study for my exam next week." You need to figure it out yourself. You don't realize. Now, I know I'm giving you unusual examples, but these could be real examples because you're not used to being hunkered down with your husband, wife, children, father, dad, family members. You love them. This is not about your love for them, but you're not used to being hunkered down 24 hours a day where you can't go out, can't go to the gym, can't get any kind of, refuge at this time because you've got to stay at home because of the statewide, nationwide, looks like it's headed in that direction, stay at home mandate. And these feelings and emotions that are being elicited are natural and normal, but the awareness of it will help you to say, okay, right now I'm not at my best. Right now, the action that I need to take, the action that the emotions can elicit, might be I need to limit my news watching. There's nothing wrong with being informed. Stay informed, student veteran, your family members. Stay informed. Know what's going on. However, you might need to limit your news watching, limit the exposure that you're getting because you're recognizing that it's creating more anxiety, more nervousness, more uncertainty, more of the negative feelings, or not negative, excuse me, but feelings that create negative consequences. So awareness, this awareness video is about helping you to recognize my conscious, subconscious, or unconscious thought processes, thought bubble, boop, elicit emotions or feelings that will elicit actions or behaviors that will have a positive or negative consequence. Your husband or wife or your children or your daughter, they have no idea what you're feeling. They've got no idea how to get into your head unless you express and you communicate effectively. Right now I'm really concerned about our family. I'm concerned about our well-being. So if I feel or seem like I'm a little bit shorter than I normally am, please forgive me, honey, please forgive me, I don't mean it. And then it helps you to kind of manage, engage your frustration level. It might be a time for you as a student veteran who's worried about your classes because you can't study in the way that you normally would study because you can't have that face-to-face interaction in the classroom. Now you're online and it feels weird and awkward and you don't want to ask questions because it's just a really unusual place for you right now. If you're concerned about it impacting your overall grade and your performance, and you're wondering, am I going to graduate? Am I going to be able to transfer like I had planned to that 4-year college or university? This might be a time to take the action of emailing your professor, letting him or her know, I really enjoy this physics or engineering or calculus or whatever class, but I'm struggling right now. This is not the normal format or form that I'm used to studying in or interacting with the lecturer in. If I could have a little bit of office hours with you so that you can help guide me in the right direction for the next quiz or the next examination that I'm going to have. Student veteran, these are the kinds of actions that you can take that will have positive consequences. Consequences that you want to be cautious of, or actions rather that you want to be cautious of having a negative consequence, are that the anxiety and the nervousness that you're feeling might lead you towards wanting to have more, alcohol, wanting to drink more beers than normal, wanting to drink more wine than normal, wanting to smoke more than you normally do, wanting to engage in behaviors that you normally wouldn't engage in, addictive video game behaviors, or just hanging out on the couch all day long, doing things that you ordinarily wouldn't do. This awareness video, how your thoughts are subtly sometimes impacting the emotions, which impact your actions that will have a positive or negative consequence, is the purpose of this video, to help you to have more awareness, more mindfulness, so that you can take the action that's necessary. This might be a time for you to engage in your faith, prayer, or meditation, or quiet reflection, or working out in the gym. Not in the gym, excuse me, in the garage, going out into the backyard or in the garage, doing your push-ups or sit-ups, or exercising with the family, taking that kind of an action. As I made mention of, this might be a time to start a study group, an online study group with the other classmates. You're probably not the only one who's struggling right now with this new classroom format. So student veteran, as I wrap this up, as I end, I hope this has been helpful. I hope the idea that talking thought bubble, it's always going on, whether it's conscious, whether subconscious or unconscious, that then elicits feelings and emotions, that then elicits actions or behaviors that will have a positive or a negative consequence, helps you to think about your own experience and how you are managing this difficult time. And now finally, I have taken the liberty of drawing this picture. I'm not an artist, but I did want to draw this picture as a demonstration of that thought bubble. Here's the head with the thoughts, and these thoughts that are eliciting emotions, and these emotions that elicit actions. And then these actions that will have either a positive or a negative consequence. I just want you to be aware of that so that you recognize with greater mindfulness and awareness how this time, this very difficult, very unprecedented time, might be impacting you in a way that you may not be aware of, so that you can take the actions that will lead to the consequences that will help you through this very difficult time. I know we're going to get through this. You are going to get through this, student veteran, you and your family members. We want to get through this time with as few deaths as possible, nationwide and worldwide. But you're going to get through this. A year from now, you might be able to reflect on this time and say, man, that was a really difficult time. I didn't get to do everything that I wanted to in the way I wanted to, but I did accomplish it. I did achieve it. I did do it. And I really believe that this is a time for you to reflect on yourself and on your family. And this may be a time that helps to propel you once we get back to a state of more normalcy. And hopefully that will be sooner rather than later. Until then, student veteran and your families, know that U.S. Vets and the Outside the Wire program, we're thinking about you. We care about you and the things that impact you. And that's why we're presenting this video, this platform, in order to help you to manage this very difficult time, knowing that you will get through it and we will get through it together. Until then, stay well, stay safe. I hate to be cliche. Stay at home. and I'll see you next time. This is Dr. Miatta. Take care.